Hey guys, I wanted to take a second to explain Zwift. A lot of times when I'm talking about my cycling or things that I do, Zwift comes up in the conversation because I use it a lot. Zwift is actually a cycling simulator that it's available on PC app on your phone, or I use it on Apple TV, which works great for me because I can just project it right onto the wall here and use it like it's on a big TV. But anyway, Zwift is my go-to pretty much on any days when, like in the winter when it's cold, or like today it's September and we're looking at 100 degrees outside and I just don't feel like riding outside, so I come in and get on Zwift. And there are a lot of different, or at least several different things that are similar to Zwift that are out there, but Zwift is the one that I choose, and I'll tell you why. To me, it's the one that simulates real world riding the most, because you can do basically whatever you want. Like, I can get on, if I just want to go take it easy by myself and go for, you know, ride easy, slow, fast, whatever I want to do, I can just get on there and go and just get some miles in, get some time in. And on top of that, you can do group rides basically with anyone around the world, and I'll do one here shortly, and I'll record some of it so you can see how it works. But some of these group rides, you get hundreds of people on there from all over the world, and you work together with each other, and it's really similar to riding in big packs or groups when you're on a regular ride outside. So it also has a lot of the physics that are included into it that are real world physics. Like, you can get in a pack like that and you can work in a draft, or I guess the negative is if you slow down a little bit and you lose the draft, you're probably not going to catch back up, which, I mean, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, but it's realistic. That's what I like about it. It's realistic. It simulates, there are different types of trainers. Like, the one that I've got is called a smart trainer, and I'll show you that in a second. But the smart trainer works with Bluetooth, and it ties in with the Apple TV to where, like, when I'm doing a route that has hills on it, it'll actually make the pedaling on the bike harder like it does in real world. And if I'm going downhill, it makes it easier, so you can actually coast if you want to, which a lot of simulators don't let you do that. You pretty much have to pedal full time. And then, like I mentioned, you've got the draft, where you can actually feel the draft when you get behind other riders or a big pack of riders. You can feel the draft, and it affects your speed. So anyway, that's why I choose Zwift. Just, to me, it's more realistic. I'll show you my setup here. Basically what I've got here is an older road bike that I've had for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. And that brings up another point. People ask me, what's the difference between this or something like Peloton? And honestly, I've never tried Peloton, but I don't really have any desire to, and this is why. Peloton, or things like that, you pretty much have to spend a couple $1,000s on the bike, the Peloton bike, and then you have to pay a subscription every month to use the bike. To where with something like Zwift or any of these other simulators, you can use an actual bike, an actual road bike, or, I mean, you can work mountain bikes or whatever you want. You can do that. So you can, the money that you would spend on Peloton, you can buy an actual bike and all your setup here. And then on days when you want to ride outside, you just take it off the trainer and go ride outside. So to me, that just makes more sense. Basically, the trainer that I've got here is the Wahoo Kicker Snap. So as you can see, the bike sits on the trainer, and it's got a wheel down here that provides resistance. And like I said earlier, it's tied in with Bluetooth to where it reads when I'm on a hill, and it will make the pedaling or the resistance on the wheel harder, so you're actually working harder when you climb a hill, just like real life. So I've got my bike set up here to where I can see the simulator right there in front. I've got a fan set up here because it gets pretty hot and toasty and sweaty. So it's a pretty comfortable little riding area here. And like I said, here in a few minutes I will get on a group ride and kind of show you how that works, and kind of explain the pluses and minuses, and we'll go over that. Okay, I've gotten signed up for a group ride here. It's going to start in a few minutes, but I will kind of show you the setup process here. So as you can see, when you get to the main screen, it just shows my account and shows my stats for how many miles I've ridden and all that. Once you go in, you basically can go in and pick different areas to ride. First of all, it's going to take you to a screen where you set up your trainer and any devices that you have, like heart rate, cadence sensors, all of that. Once you get past that, you can go to choose the areas you want to ride, and it looks like Zwift has changed their menu. So anyway, they have these different rides that are scheduled, and like I said, you can either choose to do riding on your own, just your own pace, your own route, however you want to ride, or you can do these group rides or group races. So as you can see, there's like triathlon races, there's all kinds of different things here, which that brings up another point. I want to tell you, Zwift is not just for cycling. They've got it set up now to where you can do a treadmill and do running. So you can do the same maps, but you're actually running with the treadmill, and they've got devices that you can put on your shoes that track your speed and all that type of thing. So it makes it very realistic. And I've heard rumors that they're going to tie it in with like rowing machines to where you can do kayaks and that type of thing eventually, which would be really cool. So anyway, I've signed up for this gravel ride, and that's another point, is they've got different surfaces. Like I can do road rides, I can do gravel rides. They've got some mountain bike things now that they've added in. So whichever type of cycling you're into, you can do it, and it's pretty cool. So I'm a little early here, so what it's going to do is take me to the starting area. So basically it's everyone grouped up behind this little gate, and you can see that I'm right there along with someone else here. And we've got 12 minutes basically until the ride starts, but what I usually do is once we get here to this starting point, I will kind of get on my trainer and get my legs warmed up, so before we take off, I'm ready to go. The screen up here, and as you can see in the top left, it tracks your watts, and the trainer calculates your watts based on the amount of power that you're putting into your pedaling. So pretty much everything on these group rides is based on your watts, or your watts per kilogram, which is your watts per your weight. So when you set up your account on Zwift, you want to be, in order to make it as realistic as you can, you want to be accurate when you put in, it's going to ask you your weight and your height. And you want to put in your accurate numbers in order to make it more realistic. And yes, some people do cheat. They have races on here, and honestly, cycling has a lot of egos. And there are people that cheat so they can win the races. They'll put in a lighter weight, or I don't know, they figure out ways to cheat. But basically, if you want to be realistic, be accurate on it. As you can see up here, it's kind of messed up on the screen, but each group ride that you do, they list a number of watts per kilogram, and that kind of tells you how fast they're going to go. And you want to pick groups that you can keep up with. Like I said, this one's gravel, so we're riding mountain bikes, so the draft doesn't come into play quite as much as it does on the road rides. But if you get into those road rides and you're in a group that's stronger than you really want to be in, you're going to get dropped, and it's just not a fun experience. And again, that's similar to real life. I'm going to do some beginner videos for beginner cycling here coming up, but that's one of my pet peeves, and it's gotten me in trouble a few times, but I'm not one to kind of hide my feelings when I feel like something needs to be changed. But basically, for now, I'm just going to tell you, if you're in a group that's stronger than you really want to be in, you're going to get dropped, and it's not going to be any fun. right here, it's like I said, it's messed up. I think this is a 2.0 or 2.5 watt per kilogram ride. So once you build up, you can kind of know what your comfortable pace is. So you want to join group rides that fit into that category that you're comfortable with. So here in a minute we'll get started and I will show you how it works. Alright, so now we're in the warm-up stage and we've got a few more people who have joined, but we've still got 7 minutes to go. But I kind of wanted to explain my setup here, how I've got it all arranged. And one more thing I want to touch base on here is a lot of newer people into cycling ask me about pedals and clipping into pedals versus not clipping in. I think it's a great idea once you get comfortable on the bike, but I think when you're on a trainer like this, it's the perfect time to learn and get comfortable with the clipped pedals. See if you can see mine, but what clip pedals are, you actually attach your feet to the pedals and they lock in. And yes, it can be kind of sketchy when you're first learning because you probably will tip over, but it helps you a lot when you're pedaling. It gives you force on your upstroke of the pedaling, and it helps you a lot when you're going up hills especially. So anyway, I think doing it on the trainer is the perfect way to learn and get comfortable with it because you're not going to tip over. So I've got my bike set up here. I usually keep some hydration. It's not focused very well, but that's my hydration. Now I've got a remote here because the game kind of gives you power-ups as you go. Sometimes like giving you a little boost up a hill or drafting boost or something like that. So you use the remote to actually activate that. As you can see now on the bottom right, one of the things I like about Zwift 2 is it's social. So people are starting to communicate via text messages on the bottom right there. So we can communicate with each other, and it's one of the cool things too is if someone does struggle and start falling behind, they can ask for help and people will drop back and help them. Up here in a second you'll see right there, you see the rider that's got the yellow beacon above their head? That is the actual ride leader. And basically the goal on group rides like this is for the ride leader to set the pace that the ride is advertised at, and everyone else should try to stay as close as you can to that yellow beacon because that's going to make everyone group up, and mainly in road rides that's going to increase your chances of being in that main draft. Okay, I'll wait. We got 4 minutes left, so I'll get back on in just a second. We can start the ride. Alright, looks like we're down under 30 seconds now, getting ready to start. This is a fairly low populated ride, which the gravel rides usually are. So this one's not going to be like a huge pack like the road rides are, but you can kind of see how it works. So we've got the timer up there now that's ticking down, and that red ribbon, whatever it is across, it's kind of holding us into the gate here. But once the time runs down, which it's doing right now, we all go. And again, like I said, you want to stay with the yellow beacon. So right now I'm kind of out front. I want to slow down a little bit and wait for the beacon. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but down towards the bottom it has a little list of the people in the ride, and it shows me that the yellow beacon is 12 meters, now 10 meters behind me. So that kind of shows me how much I need to slow down and wait. And there he is, or she, right beside me. So really my goal is to stay as close as I can to that yellow beacon this whole ride. And this one's an hour, and on most road rides, I don't know, it depends on the group you're in, but I wouldn't even say the speed because it depends on what group you're in and what you feel comfortable with. But you can do the group rides for, I would say most of them are an hour long, but Some are much longer. They have some that are based on mileage, and you know, you go 100 miles if you want to. So it's really whatever you want to accomplish. As you can see, this group's pretty good, so they're staying pretty close together, which is what you really want in a group ride. You want people to stay together. One of the other things that's cool about Zwift is they've got, I don't even know how many there are now, there are maps of different locations throughout the world. Some are real and some are not. I didn't even pay attention to which one I'm in. I think I'm in Watopia, which that is a fictional area. It's not real, but it's really cool. But I know there are at least, I don't know, maybe 10 different locations, maybe. I don't know for sure, but each location has several different routes you can do. So there are literally hundreds of different routes you can ride on here. And like I said, some are roads, some are gravel, they've got some more mountain bike type stuff now, so pretty much anything you want to do, you can do. Alright guys, well, I won't bore you by making you watch an hour-long group ride like this, but just wanted to kind of touch base on the basics. Getting on the gravel now. Like I said though, I'm going to do another video here shortly that kind of has beginner tips, because I know how frustrating and intimidating it is to get into something new that you're not familiar with. And to be honest, cycling is not real beginner friendly at times, especially if you want to join groups or clubs. It can be very intimidating, it can be very frustrating, and I will touch base on the good and the bad of all that in the next video, along with just basic tips for people wanting to get into it, kind of the best things to look for when you start, and go from there. So anyway, I'll see you next time.